Welcome back to the Miracosta Filmmaking Podcast. I'm Kim, and I'm here with
Tim
and Jessica.
And we're going to jump right into it. We've got a lot of stuff going on today. Jessica and Tim saw the play that just happened. What was it? Importance of Being Earnest?
The Importance of Being Earnest. It is a play that is written by, hang on.
Algernon Blackwood, was it?
No, it's written by Oscar Wilde. Yeah, it's
Close
from
enough.
1895. So he wrote the script for this play, and it was a very interesting play, wasn't it? Yeah, so the dialogue was very complex. Wouldn't you say?
very layered, Victorian-like.
Very proper.
Very proper.
Very
and
proper,
I felt
yeah.
accurate too. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, because I was actually in a production of The Importance of Being Earnest in high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a lot of comedy in the play. It was.
Oh yeah, it is a great comedy. It's really fun.
Yeah, it was very funny, and at times it was difficult to understand what everyone was saying.
Mm-hmm.
And
those
it was
period
hard.
dramas will get
Yeah,
you.
it was hard to follow at times, but it was still enjoyable to watch, and they definitely put on a good production. I liked all the costumes and everything. They were all dressed, like the time that they were in.
Yeet.
So, yeah. Do you have anything you want to say?
I thought that the props in a sense were a little bit minimal, like the background and stuff, but it seemed to have worked well. Like they had, like a couple chairs, those flower pots and stuff. Like they just went with the general vibe of a setting.
Yeah.
And I felt that really helped a lot, because if you have too much on stage, it just takes away from the actors.
Well, and that's the thing with theater, like compared to acting with on camera or for like a TV show or something like that. The set is going to be completely detailed to look like the place that they're at.
Yeah.
But on stage, you don't really need all of those things. You just need like a few set pieces, and then you have to use your imagination to do the rest of the work.
Of course, unless it goes with the plot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. Overall, I liked it too. It felt pretty original. One of those, title reflects the movie, but it felt unique. It really did. I liked the characters. I'd say that's the best part.
Yeah. The acting was definitely good, and they were able to stay in their roles for a very long time, and yeah.
Oh, you know what we could talk about though? The lighting, because you remember when Boland was talking about the different 3 to 4 point lighting?
Yeah, I found that very confusing.
Yeah, so pretty much in a theater, is it that they have they have 3 points of lighting or 3/4 lighting, where you'll have 3 lights on a subject and then one that's not. I think is that the back, or is that that's the backlight, because you don't want it shining in the audience's eyes, and it gives it more of a depth to it. When in movies, it's like there's lighting all around, like it's daytime outside, even at night, you can clearly see the actor or actress. But yeah, I thought that the lighting that they used in the play was pretty good, except when it was fading to dark, or whenever it started to dim a bit, like someone was playing with the dimmer switch.
Oh, like they're about to...
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when they were about to fade out, it was a little bit odd, because the tone, you could really tell the tone from the lighting too. But when the lighting was right, then I definitely say the play was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Real quick, can we silence our cell phones? Good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Tim and I saw Dr. Sleep a few weeks back.
I've never seen that. Tell me what it's about.
So, first off, it is the continuation of Danny Torrance's story from The Shining, written by Stephen King.
Mm-hmm.
So, the movie was adapted by Stanley Kubrick and is very, very tonally different from the original source material. People say that Stanley Kubrick's Shining movie is the scariest horror movie of all time.
I definitely got
So
it.
it's like a sequel to The Shining.
Yeah.
So is this also based off of a book by Stephen King?
Yeah.
Yes.
So Dr. Sleep is the sequel to The Shining, and it takes place 23 years after the events of The Shining, and it continues the little boy's story, Danny Torrance.
Yeah.
He grows up kind of following the same steps of his father, Jack Torrance, goes on, he's got his experiences with drugs and stuff, and then he ends up finding himself in a place where he manages to clean himself up, and he finds kind of like his calling. What happens is that he finds himself working in a retirement home, right?
Yeah.
And then he finds comfort in helping people who are about to pass. Yeah. There's a cat that is a resident there at the retirement center, and people know that when this cat comes to someone and lays on their bed, they're about to die. And then Danny finds his calling by comforting these people and helping them pass peacefully. So he's there for like 7 years. He's clean and he's sober, and then he ends up...
Oh yeah, so along the way, all this is happening, you get this kind of B story going on with this other girl who... how far should we go into spoilers? Or should we just talk about it?
Fuck it. This is going to contain
spoilers.
Okay.
Spoiler alert.
All right. So, yeah, spoiler alert. So, pretty much what was kind of weird, eerie, like Toby from the first movie, which was like a physical representation.
Wait, Jessica, are you wanting to see this? Are you okay with spoilers?
I'm okay with spoilers.
Okay.
I'm not going to see it.
So, like in the first movie, what was it?
At least you're not going to see it now.
Yeah. In the first movie, the kid had this kind of imaginary friend that was a manifestation of his, like, shining or magic. And
Tony.
Tony. In this movie, they just call it the Shine.
Yeah.
Which I felt like it did took a lot out of the mystery of it when a couple of the characters talk about it. But at the same time, too, it makes sense in a horror movie for people to talk about something odd. It's like, you don't have people just ignoring, Freddy or Jason throughout the whole movie, just saying, magic and monsters don't exist or something like that. No, in a horror movie, you talk about the horror. You talk about the elephant in the room. And while all that's happening, this girl has the Shine within her, and she's doing all these kind of weird things. Not like, creepy world, just like, hey, it's a fun kid with powers and things like that.
Yeah, she's got some serious strength in her mouth.
Yeah.
She's extremely powerful. And unfortunately, she manages to pick up the radar or whatever on someone else's shining powers. So it's cast wonderfully. Ewan McGregor plays Danny Torrance. Rebecca Ferguson plays Rose the Hat, the film's main antagonist, and she is absolutely fantastic as Rose the Hat. Very, very charismatic and dark and seductive and mysterious. And then we find out how fucking terrifying she really is. Zach McLarnon as Crow Daddy, Rose's husband counterpart, and then Kaylee Kieran, who plays Abra Stone, the young girl with the incredibly shining powers. She is a little badass. In many movies they talk about a strong, independent woman, things like that. She was just able to fend for herself. Yeah, she was actually capable person. Characters. She was smart. Like you know how in the first movie when the kid realizes, hey, I should go into the maze and then retraces my steps. Yeah. There are a couple of moments in that movie where she used her brain. Oh yeah. There's a sequence in there where we find out, huge plot twist of how strong this girl's powers are. She set a trap for Rose the Hat. Mm-hmm. So the scene where she's trying to figure out where Rose is, Rose picks up her scent, her powers or whatever, and then she follows the powers to where Abra lives. And basically what we find out is that Abra laid a trap, thinking that Abra made a memory bank of files, how to things inside her head in order for Rose to look through to find her deepest fears or stuff like that about Abra. And one of the file cabinets that Abra keeps her memories in slams shut on Rose's hand when she's trying to rifle through getting information on Abra. and we find out, plot twist, it's a frickin' trap. And Rose, played by Rebecca Ferguson, is phenomenal in this scene. She is freaking the hell out, and she is angry. She's playing so many incredible emotions in one scene.
Oh yeah, it is.
From
angry to just scared to like she has a wider range of emotions, but I do want to touch. There are a lot of gory scenes throughout the whole movie.
Yeah. There's the scene in that particular scene where the file cabinet slams shut on Rose's hand. It's very similar to a scene in Gerald's Game, another adaptation of Stephen King's short stories that he wrote. It was a process called degloving.
Oh, that is...
So basically, spoilers again, and sorry if this is really gory, but Rose pulls her hand out of the file cabinet and her skin comes off with it. And basically calling it degloving.
Yeah, and the whole time, this is all like happening in their minds, but whatever happens in their minds happens to their bodies.
Yeah.
So she comes out, and then you see her hand just like mauled, mutilated, and it's really intense.
That's like Nightmare on Elm Street shit.
Oh, it's so cool how it was done.
Yeah.
Abra's so strong. She psychically flings Rose back all the way across the country back into her body, and Rose flings off of the she falls off of the roof of the RV that she's meditating on. So she Rose the Hat travels along with a bunch of other her companions who have the same
soul-sucking shinings, if that makes sense.
Yeah, basically they suck the shine out of people,
which is like a metaphor for the soul.
Yeah.
But the thing that I found like most interesting is, have either of you two seen Doctor Strange?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh,
okay.
I love that movie.
Whenever they're doing the mind tricks in Doctor Sleep, it's weird. They're both doctors and they both But whenever in this movie, like in the trailer, they have him where he's falling into the whiteboard and the whole like room is like being tilted over.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like scenes where like everything is just either kind of imploding, like zooming in, or just the whole room's flipping over and things like that. They used a lot of CGI in this movie, but at the same time, it never felt prominent, like, unnecessarily prominent. There's one scene when a couple of the soul, sucking shining guys are dying, and you see like a special effect, and that special effect seems a bit off.
Yeah, they have like the image of a skull kind of superimposed over their body whenever their shine is being sucked out of them or whatever, and
which
they're
is
dying.
Creepy, but
I thought it was well done, because that can be a very cheesy look.
Well, I'm saying you notice that is special. It's not it's not too realistic. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's a bad special effect. I'm saying like you can tell it's CGI. That's the thing about it.
Yeah, that's like what we said. CGI should help the movie along, not be a focus on it. Yeah. I thought it was bordering kind of both. I think it was definitely a really good effect.
It was on the good side of Uncanny Valley.
Yeah. Which, a little side note, a lot of wonderful, wonderful actors in Dr. Sleep were also, had also either worked together with several other people. Speaking of Gerald's Game, Bruce Greenwood, who played Gerald himself in the Netflix adaptation, he's also in this. There's several other fantastic people who are in various adaptations. Carol Strucken, who plays Grandpa Flick, the main patriarch of Rose the Hat's Entourage. He was also one of the characters, one of the really scary type of characters in Gerald's Game as well. There's several other people also who had been in the Haunting of Hill House series, which I hugely recommend if you're up for something scary. The next season for that is going to be about Bly Manor. So, yeah, there's several fantastic people who have worked with Mike Flanagan, who I think also directed the Haunting of Hill House series.
The directing in this movie was really good. I love the camera in this movie. I'm not sure if it would match people's Kubrick standards.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. I really liked the ominous shots. I felt that was the best. That and the what was the ominous music that would you say, or the sound effects? Like the thud or they had like heartbeat going throughout the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
You know what that was from, right?
Yeah, that's from the Shining.
So, massive spoiler alert. If you guys were wondering about, the big, that we basically do end up, after all, going back to the Stanley Hotel itself. So, Dan Torrance goes back to where it all began, which I can't think of a better thing. And then a really funny, cool thing is that that ending of how the Stanley Hotel, is that the real hotel in real life, or is it the?
It looked just like there's.
What's the name of the hotel in the book and movie? Is it the Stanley Hotel
or no?
I think
it's the Stanley Hotel, but I'm not sure. The thing about it, though, that this movie, one of the best things I have to say about this movie is it recreates scenes, and I haven't seen The Shining all the way through, just bits and pieces here and there. But those scenes that, the iconic one, like here's Johnny and things like that, when you see those scenes, it looks like they just high-resed it. They just took the quality of the film, because, it's a little bit lower quality than HD, but it looks so good.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of those actual scenes, like the whole here's Johnny scene, the scene with the blood in the elevator, we actually see those scenes again. They're redone fantastically with other characters who have, like I said before, been cast in the Haunting of Hill House series and the Gerald's Game series. Most notably of which, we see Jack Torrance himself again, and he is played fantastically by, hold on, but I should know this. Why? Oh, God. Damn it. Henry Thomas. Henry Thomas plays a fantastic portrayal of Jack Torrance. There are so many wonderful parallels that take place when they go back to the hotel. So many great callbacks to the original movie, and there are so many fantastic performances. Also, there are a couple characters that we do see again. Dick Halloran, who was played by... Damn it. Please hold. Oh my god. Who was it? Ooh. Carl Lumley. He played Dick Halloran in Dr. Sleep. He was fantastic. And also, I just heard recently that they were thinking about doing a spin-off called Halloran, about Dick Halloran. Did you hear about that?
Okay, I would genuinely want to see... Okay, that...
Yeah,
we could go into streaming and different things like that, but I would just try... If it's a spin-off that ties into Dr. Sleep, because another big thing about the movie is it is a little bit... going off of the book. But I'd love to see
that's also another extension of the same world that I would like to see. Yeah. So another fantastic performance was Alex Esso, who played Wendy Torrance. I thought she was absolutely phenomenal. The first couple scenes in the movie that had the Wendy Torrance character in it with young Danny as well, I thought Alex was just phenomenal. She was so much like, what's her name?
Oh, the mother in the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, she just, not only the personality.
How dare I should know this. Shelley Duvall.
Yeah, Shelley Duvall.
She, I swear, she sounded and at times even looked exactly like Shelley Duvall. She was phenomenal. Yeah. I couldn't stop, my jaw was dropped the whole time. I loved Alex playing Wendy Torrance. Perfect casting. Yeah.
Any last thoughts?
there, Jacob Tremblay is in it, of The Room fame with Brie Larson. He's one of those actors who you think he's like Drew Barrymore in Scream, where you think he has a large role in it, but spoilers, something very messed up happens to him, and that scene is insane. Oh my god. And he was so phenomenal in that scene.
The first half of the movie really is intense. Like it's not something like it is M. That's the thing about it. The second half tones it down a bit, but there are some pretty graphic things.
Yeah, I really liked Zahn McClarnon's character as Crow Daddy, Rose's boyfriend husband. He was really scary too. He's one of those he's also extremely smart. He's the one who you don't realize that he disappeared from the group, and then he pops up out of nowhere, serious plot twist. Holy shit, you did not really see that coming.
In story making,
it was terrifying.
You would call him the dragon, and for a good reason. He is the second hand of the antagonist.
Yeah.
He's capable.
Yeah, he's the right hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right hand.
Oh, he was a freaking beast. God, I really enjoyed this movie.
I did too. It felt like, even for people for me, I'm not a big horror buff. I've seen a couple movies. I've seen Predator and Alien, and I've seen a little bit of Jason, but I enjoyed the story. That was another thing too. The story itself was also really good, and I didn't feel like anything was too far reaching. I didn't feel that there were political messages or that there were subliminal things. No, it felt like a genuine just story. They were trying to tell a story, and I enjoyed the cast for their performance.
Yeah. What do you think about Ian McGregor and Rebecca Ferguson? I loved her. I thought she was amazing.
They were great too. The whole cast really did their own part. That's the other thing too. Each character carried their own role, and that's the other thing too. There's a lot of characters in this movie when you kind of look at it. Especially if you count that towards the end, there's a reveal where you see all of the kind of Shining ghosts.
Oh yeah, all of the ghosts in The Shining. So earlier in the movie, we find an old memory of young Danny talking to Dick Halloran, which we don't realize is his ghost.
Yeah.
Or we forget that it's his ghost. But this was after the events of The Shining, and then Dick Halloran basically gives Danny a way to trap the memory of these ghosts to keep them from haunting him. So basically a nice way to kind of control these ghosts. So basically we find at the very end, another huge spoiler alert, is that all of the ghosts that had been haunting them from the Shining Hotel itself
are freed from his memory, and
he had actually built and encased a box and put them in there for years, and he finally unleashed them onto Rose the Hat, and they killed her, and then of course once she's dead they turn on him, and then they try to, and he's got to get away from them.
The one thing I thought was weird about that is that not all the ghosts are there, or not all the the Shining. But what was interesting about that is, where were the other ones? That is a real good use of horror. If you see let's say 9 out of 10 famous people or characters or just prominent things, where's the last one? And I think a couple of them.
Which last one are you talking about specifically?
I think was the guy in the bear suit there, because that was a pretty.
I can't remember. I think so.
Yeah, there were a couple of them that seemed there was a huge cast in that picture of Jack Nicholson.
The twins were there.
Yeah, that was probably the best one.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, I thought whoever casted that, the casting was great.
Yeah, and like I said, a lot of callbacks to the first and original movie and source material. Which, speaking of which, this adaptation of Dr. Sleep was basically there was, I guess, some concern as to which source material they were going to continue it from. Were they going to use the source material? Was this going to be a continuation from the original book source material, or the actual Kubrick version material? And I think they actually kind of just did both.
Yeah, like for me, I heard a little bit that the book was like there were some scenes that were either cut or they added in. Like there's a shootout scene.
Oh yeah,
and
from the book, yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I could tell that the shootout scene wasn't in like the original version that they want to go with.
Yeah.
But like
Did you read the book for Doctor Sleep or either?
I haven't read much of Stephen King.
I'm trying to read more.
Yeah, I'm trying to read more. You know what's one that I want to see? I kind of want to see the Pet Sematary one, but I'm not sure if I should.
The new one?
Yeah, that's the biggest problem with the Stephen King movies is I don't know whether if I should see the original first or the new ones because from what I hear,
see the new one first.
That's what I'm thinking because the original ones are held in such a high regard. Like it's like the Aladdin thing. If you like the new Aladdin, then here's a classic. Hey, I like it even more. Yeah. It's like that's me.
And a problem that I had with the newest version of Pet Sematary, the one that just recently came out, was they did a whole complete gender swap again as to which certain things happen to which characters or whatever. But the thing that I got really upset was that like they basically show the entire fucking movie in the trailer. They tell you what happens in the fucking trailer.
That was one of the kind of problems I had with the Aladdin trailer. Is that that's the problem is when you have a good trailer, it actually should tell you about the movie.
But not the whole movie.
But it's also a bad trailer if it ruins it when you're watching the movie. Now, you don't want a movie that's just, a couple short, spoiler tags. Like, the thing about Joker, when that trailer, kind of dropped, that's the first kind of, half or quarter of the movie or 3/4 where it has certain scenes. It felt pretty balanced overall.
Yeah. Yeah. So... the newest James Bond trailer just dropped.
No.
For what was it? Die Another? No, not Die Another Day.
No Time to Die.
No Time to Die.
No Time to Die. So let's die another day. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, have either of you two seen the trailer?
I saw the trailer. I'm just like, all right, here we go again.
I'm not very familiar with the James Bond series.
I've seen only. Okay, I was going to say Goldmember. No, I've only seen Goldfinger, and pretty much. This trailer, that dropped. It has Daniel Craig's, Bond, kind of a bit older at the end of his career. You can kind of tell this is one of those cap-off movies.
You're fine as hell.
And they do the tropes. They bring in the replacement character, the new female Bond, which is played by, what was it, Anna... I wish I could remember the name. Yeah. But they have the new female Bond, which is trying to replace him. You have, the shadowy doppelganger of 007 himself, which is like this...
Anna de Armas?
Yeah, that's what it is, Anna de Armas. And pretty much there's, this mask kind of... almost like a Spectre version of him, where they're... kind of going at odds with each other. It's a whole montage, the trailer itself. But there's a replacement Bond. He's trying to either make amends or fight through this relationship he had with a woman from the last movie. And then there's this...
Q?
Yeah.
Or
Q.
M, sorry.
I think it's M. And then there's... One of the weirder things about the movies, I don't know where it takes place. And I know that it travels around to different locations, but I think it'll start in the desert or Britain, and then it'll move towards more city places. I just didn't know where it takes place. That's my problem. If I were to put setting for the movie, I wouldn't know where.
Yeah. So some people who come back are Ray Fiennes, who plays the new M. Basically, he took over after M's character, played by Dame Judi Dench, died.
Yeah.
Ray Fiennes is the new M. He comes back. Christoph Waltz, who played Blofeld, comes back. Naomi Harris as Eve Moneypenny is back. Ben Whishaw plays Q again. Some new people are Rory Kinnear, who plays Tanner. He was in Black Mirror, Penny Dreadful, which I loved him in. Rami Malek plays, I think, the new Bond villain, which is going to be really fantastic. Rami Malek, who did Freddie Mercury in Queen, the new biopic that came out in the last 2 years. Leia Doe comes back. She's a new adaptation, or a new addition. Sorry, can't talk today. Who else was in it? Anna de Armas, of course.
Yeah. She's that. I'd say that's the biggest thing about the trailer. But
yeah, Jeffrey Wright is in here. He's fantastic. He's also set to be the new Commissioner Gordon in the new Batman series or movie that's coming out.
There's so much. I don't want to stray so much, but there is so much going on with that one. It's almost like the Rise of the Skywalker, where you're hearing so much just about the production alone. I wonder what that's going to be.
Yeah, so, a lot of really good actors in here in the new No Time to Die movie. Bond has left service. So, the synopsis on IMDb says, Bond has left active service. His peace is short-lived when his old friend Felix Leiter from the CIA turns up asking for help, leading Bond onto the trail of a mysterious villain armed with dangerous new technology. The villain, I'm pretty sure, is Rami Malek, who's probably going to blow it out of the park. So. Yeah,
it seems like, to me, whenever you have that kind of plot, it seems kind of like Rambo 2 or Rambo 3 or just Rambo, where you have, you have this veteran, soldier or agent. We need you back. Keen people actually just skit about that, but we need you back, man. We need you on one last job. And then the person is either aged or... I wonder if something's actually going to happen to him. Like, probably from some of the later scenes not. But I wonder if something's going to happen, like, they wouldn't have him, like, lose an arm or something. Like, something big like that. I mean, that would be pretty much like a just cause to say, okay, we're going to need to write this character out now because they can't really do their thing, or if they have a heart condition.
There can only be one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about Troop Zero or Togo?
Yes. Togo,
which is not Call of the Wild.
Yes. So Togo Togo is the story of basically the whole... So if anyone doesn't know, there's a story of Balto, which... basically in Nome, Alaska, there's some shit going down, and this is when sled dog teams were mainly used to get various supplies to the inhabitants of Alaska. So there was a really, really bad storm years ago, where there were a bunch of children dying or getting sick and dying from diphtheria. So they needed a bunch of medicine brought to Nome, Alaska, and they could only do it by sled dog team. And then Balto, a real sled dog, usually gets a lot of the credit, but it was Togo,
the lead sled dog.
It was the lead sled dog, Togo, who did the hardest leg of the trip. So...
Yeah, he seemed kind of like a berserker character in a sense, like especially in the trailer. But yeah, it was the winter of 1925, and yeah, I think they needed penicillin. Like I think that might have been the Balto movie, but yeah, they needed the kids needed this, And then didn't they also say that
1925 serum run to Nome? Yeah. So
it does seem like a race against time movie. I thought that the dogs look real. It's not. I feel like these are genuine dogs, not like CGI or something like that. It feels like they're real. That's a problem I have with the Call of the Wild movie is the dog doesn't look real at times. Like,
and isn't this a new Call of the Wild that's coming out recently?
There is a new Call of the Wild, and the dog in that.
The animals are CGI?
the dog looks it sometimes because there's a scene when he's licking his nose with the snowflake, and that does not look real. And if that's real, that's one of the weirdest effects I've ever seen on a camera. Like, that would genuinely surprise me.
Yeah.
Because that's either perfect animal training, or I'd say no, because the eyes don't look right. The thing about a dog is their eyes, when they're on camera, they just stare in one direction. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a really weird thing when you look at it. Like movies like Air Bud, or
that's the number one thing in Hollywood that people have a really hard time working with. They're children and animals.
Yes.
The number one things that you don't really want to work with because they're so unpredictable, and of course, you can only really get them for a certain amount of time, and they cost a shit ton to work with. Mm-hmm. Children and animals. So.
Definitely. And like, I saw.
So I guess I can understand the want to use CGI for animals and stuff.
Definitely for Call of the Wild. For a whole sleigh dog team, I could see why that would be expensive to use real animals. But at the same time, that's the point of the movie. Like, if you want to pull a whole Polar Express where you're using all CGI animals,
just do the whole freaking movie in CGI.
That's my problem is. Either do the whole thing, either have a little bit, or it's like when you're using salt. You either have it in a dish that really needs
a little bit, or you douse the shit out of it and watch your sodium levels rise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Willem Dafoe, love him.
Yeah, he's starring in that movie.
Leonard Zapala, who's the lead sledder. Load of mush. Just kidding. Yeah, he's going to be the sled team leader.
I felt a couple of scenes in the trailer where, like, when he's on the mountain and he falls down.
I'm very upset. I didn't even know about this. I didn't even know there was a trailer already.
It looks real good. Like, there's a couple of scenes, like, when the sleigh dogs are rushing into the storm and things like that. Like, the thing about snow is there's a couple of like weird particle effects that you can do, but this looks like it, at least a couple of scenes look like it's filmed in genuine snow area, and if not, then the sets are pretty good or pretty accurate, because it looks like they're either going through mountains or they're going through valleys. The water scenes obviously don't look like they're on water. A couple may look like it's filmed on ice or like a Titanic overlay effect, but
doggies. Doggies everywhere.
Yeah,
I just want to smush them.
Yeah, we're looking at the trailer right now, and yeah, it's kind of prevalent, the CGI, but it looks like they're using actual dogs, and then they're just layering over certain events. Yeah. But yeah, I'm actually interested to see how this one goes.
Yeah, this looks really fantastic, especially like a really true story told.
I wonder if Disney would make a series out of it, like the Sleigh Dogs. Because it is being made by Disney.
There have been a couple movies about sled dog movies. Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah. So.
What's up, Doc?
Jessica saw Jojo Rabbit.
I did see Jojo Rabbit.
Time for your turn to talk.
Alright, so Jojo Rabbit was kind of like a satire, a dark comedy, kind of. And it was an interesting film. I would say, story-wise, it was kind of lacking in the first half, but it definitely picked up and got more interesting. Like, it started getting like more emotional and stuff towards the second half.
So real quick, it stars Taika Waititi, who directed it. And he also stars in it. He plays Adolf Hitler himself. Yeah. And he also wrote the script, which was adapted from Christine Lunen's novel. So, yeah.
And it has Scarlett Johansson and some other people.
She's amazeballs.
Yeah. So it's like basically about this kid who is like, he's like a Nazi super fan. And...
Oh, yeah, was that Roman Griffin Davis who
plays JoJo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. First off, I gotta mention some of the people who are in the script. Scarlett Johansson, of course, Taika Waititi, Sam Rockwell, Rebel Wilson, and Alfie Allen.
Rebel Wilson's in it too. She plays like one of the Nazi soldiers or whatever.
So Nazis, yeah.
So Yeah, so the kid Jojo, he's like a Nazi super fan, and he like worships Hitler, and it's like really hilarious.
Wow.
Like it's super offensive, but it's like funny at the same time.
I saw that this movie was on a list of top 10 movies that studios were scared to release.
Yeah,
and this is definitely on it.
Yeah, so like, he even has an imaginary friend that's Hitler, and so basically he has to change throughout the movie because his mom is hiding a Jew.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's, it's the Holocaust, so...
So, spoilers?
Yeah,
Just
spoiler.
in case?
Well, I mean, it's in the trailer.
Oh, yeah, spoilers, the Holocaust happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Spoilers
There's this Jewish girl...
assholes.
Okay, spoiler alert. They're hiding a Jewish girl, in, like, in their wall.
And is this taking place... When does this take place again?
During the Holocaust, like...
Oh, during the
like
Holocaust?
early or like towards the end?
I'm not sure
middle?
exactly.
Young boy and
I think towards the end, actually. Yeah. Because they have like the final war and then So basically he starts to like develop feelings for the girl, and so then he has to totally like change his like Nazi ways, and then
Jews, they're just like us.
Yeah.
Leave
like
the Jews
it's so
alone,
hilarious because it's like he thinks that Jews are like these evil creatures that are like demons and everything.
And then there's like a nice girl.
There's a nice girl, but she like starts messing with him, and she tells him like all these things, and she's like, oh, but
she's not helping.
She's not helping.
God,
she's like, yeah, I'm a demon. I'm like all these things, and she just like starts messing with him just because he's like so gullible.
Oh my god.
And then he starts
honey,
like,
you are making things so much worse.
Yeah. And then he like draws this whole like book, like this whole story about how like, how evil the Jews are and everything, and it's like, it's just so ridiculous.
I saw so many commercials about that, just prominently saying a war satire. Like, it really, really stresses that. But what's interesting about it is, like, obviously, like, most people, like, when they think of, like, a German kind of movie, they think of, like, Anne Frank, or they think of Schindler's List. Mm-hmm. But when you look back at, like, different war movies that take place in Germany with the civilians and things like that, in that movie, how prominent were the actual soldiers? Because, like, in real life, they would have, like, a lot of searches, a lot of raids. Were they pretty prominent? Like, was the mother, like, what role did she play in it?
Yeah, the mom, can I give a big spoiler?
Yeah, spoiler.
Do it.
Okay.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. The mom dies later in the movie.
Oh, God.
It was so sad. So, like...
Why?
Well, basically, like, out in the streets, he sees, how, like, people would get executed for, like, helping out.
For being good people?
For being good people, for the ones who would like, hide the people.
Mm-hmm.
For trying not to get others killed?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
So, yeah, he would walk by and he would see people, like, hung out in the streets. And then one day he walked by and then he saw that his mom was one of those people. And then he just broke down. Yeah.
Oh no.
And
I kind of wish I hadn't seen that.
It was a very sad part of the movie. And then, yeah.
It's like, yeah, dude, this is what you're a fan of. That's a serious wake-up call.
Yeah.
Especially for a fucking child.
Yeah, like a really like brutal part of the movie, like when he really gets a big wake up call, is like when the war starts happening between like the Germans and America, and it's like brutal, and there's all these gunshots and people are dying and everything, and
Anything about Russia?
I don't think so.
Russians?
Yeah, and then he just sees all these people on the floor, like, dead and everything. At first he thinks, like, oh, war, everything. Oh, that's all cool, in the beginning of the movie. But then once he actually sees it all happening right in front of him, like, all these people, like, bloody on the floor, dead, like, he's just a child. It, like, traumatizes him. Mm-hmm. And, he gets a big wake-up call. So the movie definitely, like, hits a lot of emotions. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that was pretty moving.
Oh, fantastic. I still need to see it. Don't judge me. What now? Because we've got a lot.
Do you want to talk about Trip Zero?
All right. do it.
All right.
I thought it was a really cool.
So we watched the trailer for it. Very, very, what we were talking about, very Wes Anderson looking, very reminiscent of Moonrise Kingdom, maybe from the use of color. I think especially the use of color, especially since it takes place in like a camp, like a children's camp area. Very Moonrise Kingdom-esque.
So pretty much for like a synopsis of the trailer, there are these one girl in particular, I think it's Viola Davis, but pretty much, or I could be wrong.
Viola Davis and Allison Janney, who have both previously worked together on The Help, which is another fantastic movie.
Oh yeah. So pretty much this little girl wants, she's obsessed with space, and then she kind of overhears at this Girl Scout meeting that this NASA representative wants to record them at this Jamboree talent show.
Not weird at all.
Yeah, it's perfectly
grown
normal.
man recording a bunch of girls sing.
But to put on this disc to send into space. So this girl is like so excited.
Not weird.
She wants to join. Really ostracized out. She ends up, I think, either her stepmom or like a real close friend decides to help her out, become like the, I think it was called Queen Bee, or like a kind of hive mother in a sense.
A den mother, I guess.
That's what
and
it is.
Real quick, it takes place in rural 1977 Georgia, so definitely very Southern-esque, like very racially tensionist. Stuff like that.
I didn't get that much racial tension in it.
I got very sexist,
sexist, definitely sexist, but not really. Oh, okay.
Kind of like Southern,
between the girls, between the younger girls, a little bit tension.
Yeah,
but it's more a focus on the kind of like Girl Scout like mockery, like trying to sell cookies, trying to.
And then girls not wanting to be interested in space and stuff like that. Like Allison Janney's character, she's a fantastic actress. She plays really mean characters fantastically.
She plays
the mother in the Tanya Harding story.
Yeah.
Tanya. Fantastic performance in there. So Allison Janney plays a very Southern belle, kind of like mean but super polite kind of character. She's like, oh, they're girls. They're not interested in space or whatever. Stuff like that.
So I'm assuming this is a very feminist story.
Yeah.
It feels almost like The Goonies in a sense. Yeah. Like, not that scope, but it
makes me think of Little Giants.
Yes, Little Giants.
I love that movie.
That's even better because it's like instead of them trying to, get a ball back or something like that. The
Misfits creating their own team. It's basically, it is basically Little Giants.
And it feels kind of, it feels diverse, but not in a way that's like, oh, okay, so we have just, one of each race. Okay, we got our base covered. Oh, and then, we got the extra person here with something odd. No, it feels like it's pretty well covered overall. Like the characters themselves feel natural. Their inclusion, their personalities really are diverse. That's the thing about it.
A lot of like the misfits and the oddballs, and they're making their own team in their own way, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
the rebels. You tell your dress. They're making a mess.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk a little bit about
scripts we'd like to read.
I kind of want to talk about Jafar and the newest Aladdin casting. So this is one of the issues that I also have when you remake a story. Like, let's say Disney doing the live adaptations of their Disney movies, their animated ones. So another thing that I really can't stand is when they recast to appeal to a different age group. Like, let's say, for instance, they casted Jafar younger than he would be in the animated series. And I just do not like the casting.
You really need to cast to appeal to the emotion that character is, you need to have the right role of that character. Not like a certain race or gender.
And I'm sorry, but this guy, no offense or anything, but I just do not think they should have casted this guy because Jafar, this guy was just not intimidating at all as Jafar, and it's actually been talked about seriously. I'm not the only one who thinks this. He was casted super young. Jafar in the original adaptation, in the original movie, was really like scary. He's an older man. He has a very deep, menacing voice and stuff. And I swear this guy kind of sounded like he sucked on helium before each take. Yeah. And it was so distracting, and it actually literally turned me off from seeing the movie in general.
Yeah, I definitely say he was trying to go for like a power vibe, but his voice and the way you can have a person with a higher voice or a calmer voice, but you need to have some power or some spike, or the whole role is he's like this advisor. An advisor should have some type of authority or power in his voice, and even you can make it menacing. That'd be an interesting take actually on Jafar, is to just constantly have him condescend Aladdin.
Yeah,
things like
he just didn't have the presence that Jafar should have. So for the TV series Once Upon a Time, however, they casted Oded Fehr as Jafar for the series. And I swear they should have just recasted him for this one because he was so fantastic. And he played the part of Jafar how it should be played. He was an older man. He had a very intimidating presence to him, and his voice was just absolutely phenomenal. Not to mention, I just think he's sexy as fuck. Don't judge me. He's just very powerful and intimidating of a presence, and I think they should have just probably recasted him.
One of the best.
Oded Fehr, by the way, also was in the Mummy series. He played one of the main friend, the leader of the Medjai.
He was good in
the
that.
Protectors and stuff. So he was fantastic in that. Mm-hmm. So, and then he was like that mysterious, dark kind of. He just has a very mysterious and dark kind of presence to him. He also does comedy really well too. He was in Bruce Bigelow, American Gigolo or something.
Okay, don't get mad at me, but who played was it Will Turner in Pirates of the Caribbean? I'm forgetting.
Orlando Bloom.
Don't judge me. I kind of wonder if he would have been, because I'm like a better Jafar in a sense. Like, that would have probably been whitewashing, but like, I'm looking back at it, and not only the appearance, but that kind of sternness to his voice, especially like whenever he's mad at Jack, I could see him getting angry. Like, I'm thinking of like Jafar as this person, like, because when you're looking at the scenes, there's not much in the Aladdin where the antagonist really has, a lot of effect on the story. It's just mainly about Aladdin getting into trouble. Yeah, Oded Fehr was. I definitely prefer that.
Yeah.
But I definitely say direction was a big problem. But in terms of like recasting, probably one of the best like swaps or whatever. There's have you two seen It's a Wonderful Life?
The Roberto Benigni one?
Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Love it.
Have you ever seen the female version or the gender swap version?
Really?
It's called It Happened One Christmas, and
what?
It's with Mary Bailey, and pretty much it's like the same thing. It's like the same premise.
1977 movie.
Yes, and it's a little bit hard to find now, but it's a really good piece because it focuses more on the kind of.
Oh wait! Oh, sorry. Is this? It's a Wonderful Life. Sorry, I thought I keep confusing that movie with Life is Beautiful, which stars Roberto Benigni.
That is.
Which also is another like fucking beautiful, like devastating movie.
That is probably the.
We'll talk about that another day.
Yeah.
Don't get distracted.
Yeah.
It's a Wonderful Life. The story about the man who is just depressed and whatever, kind of does like a
near suicidal.
Kind of like a suicidal, wishes what life would have been like had he not existed or something, and then he gets his wish. So this is, I guess, what, a female
version. You're going through the different lives and aspects, and what's so interesting is to see how an actual like role, like when you have like a male in a scene versus a female in a scene, how there's like either tension or respect, or like how you see that changes for their actual place in society.
Oh shit!
Like
Orson Welles is in this,
and it's a great.
Wow.
It's overall just real good. I'd say the film quality differs by what version you have, but I mean, I loved the directing of it. It was a while since I've seen it, but I felt that was a pretty good adaptation or interpretation.
So yeah, It Happened One Christmas, 1977. The version from 1977. If you guys want to check it out, it's directed by Donald Rye, and the writers is Philip Van Dorn Stern, based upon the short story by and Lionel Shetland. Written for television by. And
actually, an interesting one, if anyone ever knew another one, I'd be very glad. But there's actually one movie I was able to find where it had a pretty, a remake, a pretty prominent female role, and then it swapped to male, and that was Jerry Lewis in Cinderella.
Okay.
And that one, it's it's a comedy, it's a modernization of Cinderella, but from a guy perspective, where he's a poor guy trying to find a kind of rich woman, things like that, and it's pretty moving actually. But yeah, I enjoyed that.
Nice.
So Disney Plus.
Oh yeah, Disney Plus.
Yeah. All right, so Disney Plus just released. Basically, Disney taking all their shit and put it into their own streaming service.
Yeah. So the way that they advertised it is so that it's Pixar, Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, and National Geographic.
And Fox.
Oh, and National Geographic?
Yeah, so that's how they, have been advertising it, but once I went and actually got Disney Plus, they have way more than that.
Oh, shit.
So it's, literally everything that Disney has ever made is on Disney Plus.
Wow.
Anything that has Disney's name on it is on Disney Plus. They have, all of Disney Channel, every Disney movie that has ever made, the most obscure things that you can think of,
The 13th year, The Luck of the Irish.
Don't Look Under the Bed, which is one of my
probably
absolute favorite
Disney
they
have,
movies.
old movies from, the 90s and stuff that were made by Disney. Yeah.
Damn, maybe I should get it. Shit.
Yeah, I went and just, scrolled through it, and they have, all kinds of stuff that you would never even expect to have watched in a really long time.
Yeah. So right off the bat, I'm seeing that they have two different packages. They have a $6.99 a month one, and it looks like it just has Disney Plus. And then there's a $12.99 a month package that has it looks like Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN. But it says up front that some of the services that they have are Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, National Geographic.
But it goes way beyond that.
Yeah.
And they also have all seasons of The Simpsons because Disney owns The Simpsons now.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing it on here.
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to talk about the aspect ratio controversy?
Yeah, there's this controversy. No, did I say that right? Controversy about The Simpsons on Disney Plus because of the way that they format it. Basically, so I don't know how to describe it.
I know nothing about this. Please tell.
So in HD in HD, they pretty much the aspect ratio. It's like a rectangle.
Yeah.
But for older CRT TVs, they tend to be more of a square. Yeah. So you would cut off the sides, but the sides. You would have slight jokes on the edge or something like that. For
because The Simpsons has a lot of sight gags and little details that they put in.
Yeah, so there's the full screen version, which basically looks like a square because TVs originally were very square.
Most of The Simpsons old episodes are like that.
Yeah, so now there's usually we started off doing full screen, and then over the years we went to doing widescreen, which captures a lot more on the screen. There's two bars on the top and bottom of the screen of course. So
but the big problem actually isn't the sides. Even though a lot is cut off, it's actually the tops and bottoms because they do cut off a little bit too. And a lot of jokes actually are like, they have like, labels at the top of doors that you can't see.
Yeah.
Like I think the days since accident thing in the intro, I'm not sure whether or not you can even see that. But yeah, definitely a lot of visual jokes are cut off.
Yeah.
Yeah, any notable like movies or shows that you just were like, wow, this is on here or something like that?
Just like a lot of really like old Disney movies that are like for kids and stuff, like the old live action movies. Like for example, I saw kind of this movie called The Color of Friendship, which is
I remember that.
Yeah, like they have like all these old kid movies that are just really like just you would never be able to get it anywhere else.
Oh yeah. So I, being a '90s baby, I know all of these. I've watched a bunch of these movies, and they're really, really remarkable because they do touch upon very adult topics, like The Color of Friendship, which deals a lot with racism.
Yeah,
And a white South African girl finds herself in a difficult situation when she is spent to spend a term with a black family in America. It's really, really phenomenal, and just there's a lot of really, truly great movies. Smart House, Double Teamed, Xenon, Girl of the 21st Century.
They have Home Alone, actually. I'm looking at their Twitter right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they got all 3 Home Alones.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they have Avatar on Disney Plus.
I'm sure they do.
Blue People?
Blue People.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm just surprised, like, because since Disney owns Fox, they don't have all of Fox, though. Because they only have The Simpsons, but they don't have, like, Family Guy or Bob's Burgers or any of that.
No, none of the animation studios, like the big heavy hitters. I think those are in contractual obligations right now.
Yeah.
I know that they're doing a lot in terms of animations. They're doing that Jeff Goldblum series, which that'd be
The
interesting.
World According to Jeff Goldblum,
the
was it?
World According to Jeff Goldblum.
That's on Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Disney
and of course
Plus,
they
a
have
lot of shit.
They have
a lot of stuff.
All of like Disney Channel, of course. So like, I went through and they have like all of Disney Channel's old series. So like Hannah Montana, That's So Raven.
Oh, awesome.
Everything, Lizzie McGuire. Like, they have all of Lizzie McGuire.
So,
all
if
the
you're
shows you
90s
grew up
baby,
with.
Feel the future.
If you're 90s baby,
They probably have that too.
This.
Okay.
Yeah. They have Phineas and Ferb. If you love Phineas and Ferb, they have that.
Well, you watch Phineas and Ferb for Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
Yeah. Yes, Dr. Doofenshmirtz. Whatever his name is.
Dickenspurts? What the fuck?
They have Gravity Falls. That's Disney. Everything Disney XD they have too.
Yeah.
So basically everything Disney.
Everything Disney.
And everything Disney owns.
Yep.
So yeah. Are there any... So, let's say for movies or TV shows that you've seen, are there any... we take a script writing class, a screenplay writing class here at Miracosta. Are there any scenes that... certain things, how they're done in the movie or the TV show, are there any scenes that you would love to read how they wrote that in the script?
Nothing I can think of specifically. I would just love to read like scripts of cartoon shows and stuff, I think.
Bloody hell, I was thinking of one last night that that made me want to talk about this, and of course I can't remember it, but when looking for scripts to read online a couple weeks back at the start of the semester, I had read the first scene of the movie Scream on the original script, and it was really cool because it was like a photocopied version of an actual Scream script, to where it still had its original working title, Scary Movie, on it. So it was really cool to actually...
I think I remember you told me about this.
Yeah, it was really cool to read how it was done on the page, and it's very close to what we actually see in the actual movie, in the final product version. So the whole scene that opens with Drew Barrymore playing Casey Becker, it was really cool to just watch that whole scene play out. So, in doing research for certain writing exercises that we have for this class, I have like certain ways of wanting to write my scenes in my head, to where I had thought of another scene from a movie or a TV show of how I wanted to kind of do the same thing on my script, but I'm kind of having trouble finding where to find certain scripts. Like I was looking for the script for Dangerous Liaisons, the one with Glenn Close and John Malkovich and Michelle Pfeiffer. I think Keanu Reeves is actually in that. But yeah, I was looking for that script and I just couldn't find it anywhere, because there was a certain scene that I wanted to see how they wrote it in the script. So I just think that's also a really, really great thing to do when you're learning how to write scripts as well, and think about scenes that you've really loved and look and read the script and see how they did that actual scene on a page. So that'll give you an idea of how to write that in your own script.
Definitely. I was thinking about a couple right now. Like you were talking about Scream, but one that came to mind is, have either of you two seen Independence Day?
Yeah. No. Damn it, Jessica.
I'm sorry.
So aliens invade on Independence Day. It's just like, you know, War of the Worlds, but with UFOs, if that makes more sense. Like
and the White House.
Yeah, they pretty much try to nuke everything with, you know, heat beam or whatever. But there's a moment before they do that, and there's like this countdown code that one of the guys, I think Jeff Goldblum character,
I love him.
Yeah, he figures out, wait a second, there's a secret message that they're sending, and it's like a countdown. And I would love to see how they formatted that, because it goes to different cuts and different things like that.
Yeah.
Also, the Aladdin, Robin Williams improvisation, like to see what lines he did and came up with versus what was in the script.
Oh yeah, for Aladdin.
Yes, for the original Aladdin.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see Die Hard, how they formatted the radio conversation.
Speaking of like improvisation, it would be interesting to read a script of The Office, because I think they did a lot of improv in that.
Yeah.
Especially like Michael, you know, like Steve Carell, because like he did so much like exaggeration and stuff that was different from what was written.
And what we were previously talking about, films like Gravity and Interstellar, I'd love to read those scripts to see how you actually write a script that is probably going to be using a lot of CGI. Mm-hmm. So I would love to read a script about something that's set in space.
You know what I'd love to see? It would probably be impossible because of bubbles, but I'd love to see them try to make a completely underwater space movie. Mm-hmm. Like just claim that it's in space when everything's actually underwater, and then like, you know, maybe like edit out the bubbles. That'd be impossibly hard task, but if you could somehow do that, I would love to see a movie like that.
And I'd also like to read scripts for animated movies and shows to see if they're done differently. How do they do that?
That's what I was like gonna say. Like with so many cartoons and stuff, they have so many like visual gags and things that are storyboarded and things that are just like, the visual part is such a different department from what's written in the script when it comes to animation. And so it's like, I would love to see like how different things are written out in the script compared to what they ended up showing visually.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, you're talking about animated movies. I was thinking about one a little while back, and when you're looking at a script, like, you know, like let's say you're looking at a book, like you're looking at, let's say To Kill a Mockingbird. There's actually a movie that I kind of want to see the script for, and this is going to sound weird. Have you ever seen Fritz the Cat or heard of it?
Not in years. I've heard of it. But...
It was the original South Park of animated movies.
Oh, sure. Really? That was one of those...
What's this called?
Fritz the Cat.
One of those early cartoons that was definitely made for adults.
Oh, its
naughty
title,
as fuck, basically.
Its title was "We're Not X-Rated for Nothing, Baby." Like that was the actual slogan of it, and
makes me think of certain other made for adults like animation stuff. I was thinking about a movie called Cool World the other day.
Oh, I was
basically
okay.
So you think Who Framed Roger Rabbit has very adult material? Ooh, honey. Yeah, this Cool World stars Gabriel Byrne and Brad Pitt and Kim Basinger. this is definitely made for adults. Not just like the imagery of it's one of those hybrid movies, just like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where it takes place in a live action world, but it has hand drawn animated characters and sequences like that and stuff. But this is definitely adults only.
Definitely. And like, to go into that territory, the most intense movie I've ever seen, the one that deserves the R or not rated, Heavy Metal. Have either of you
Oh
seen
my
that?
god, yeah.
That
Yeah.
In the South Park episode, Major
Yeah,
Boobage,
it's
they
just-
totally
it's just-
parody it.
It's so accurate.
Yeah.
That's a movie I want to see how they do
Yeah.
the transitions.
Yeah,
Because
I want to see that.
Yeah.
I would love to read the Cool World script, which basically think Roger Rabbit on acid, which is what a lot of people call it. So
Yeah, I definitely need to see that.
there's another one.
yeah, the imagery, especially in the type of animation in Cool World, is like, it's nuts. It really is like you're on acid or something.
Yeah.
Not that I know what acid is like or whatever, but
There's
don't look at me like that.
So one other movie that, kind of tie that into a trilogy, Wizards, if you've ever seen that, really just, that kind of actually dives into all the stuff we're talking about, horror, World War II, sci-fi animated. That one delves into really intense stuff.
Yeah. All right, so we're running on an hour and 10 minutes. We got anything left, guys, or
No.
we good?
We talked about a lot of stuff.
This was fun. I
Yeah, it
enjoyed
was.
This was, I felt we made a lot of progress.
All right. So we're going to wrap it up. We are actually coming to the end of the semester, so we're going to try and actually meet up to continue the podcast. But in the meantime, it's going to be on like a when we can basis. We are probably going to be having like a hell of a lot more time to meet up since we're going to have a break between the semester. But yeah, we'll hopefully see you in a few days, guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we hope you enjoyed it.
See you later.
Yeah.
Leave comments and questions. Like, we love feedback.
Yes.
Anything you
Please.
guys want to talk about, please just put it in the comments and just let us know.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Thank you for the
We're
patronage.
desperate for attention.
We
I'm kidding.
need the
Oh my
work.
God, Jessica.
Oh my god. my codependency is percolating. Jesus.
Jinkies.
Oh, zoinks.
Like Zoink Scoob, it's time to die.
Oh god. Alright. What is Scooby's neck? Love Matthew Lillard.
Better than on Aladdin Nightmare.
Oh yeah. Okay. We good?
Yep.
Alright. Deuces. Bye guys.
Bye.